Well, hello everybody. Didn't expect that, did you, Brownie? I could just hear your computer in the background going lift off. Hello everybody. How you doing? Let us know what's going on in the comment section below. We're back with your second installment of the day. It's been quite rare, this, to be fair, in terms of a second installment, Brownie. There was last time we're out in the Prem where it felt like we're doing one day, one video in the morning, one stream at night. I don't know how I did it, to be honest, but I'm getting on a bit now, mate. Don't know if I can keep up with it, but it has been far too long, hasn't it, my friend? We were just talking about it last time out and saying, how long has it actually been? And I think it's been deadline day since then. You've now uncoached Sheffield Wednesday to beat Leeds United first team. It's been chaos though, hasn't it, mate? How have you been doing anyway? We've just been speaking about it all off air. We probably should be speaking about this on air, but so we'll go over it all again, mate. But what's been going on?
What hasn't been going on, I tell you. Tell you what hasn't been going on since deadline day. Any bloody signings. That was the last time we spoke. Good God, What was all that about?
Terrible.
We are where we are. We said it was going to be a difficult season, and it looks like it might well be. But yeah, personally, no, just what it's like, mate. Life really, really busy with everything, and it's probably a blessing in disguise because it's kind of taken your mindset onto something else rather than worrying about Goodmanson heading it into the top bins in the 94th minute. Because honestly, I wanted to jump in the Thames at 5 o'clock. I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah, it's all the way back, hasn't it, mate? I mean, we've been speaking of like deadline day was kind of the point of which I know you were getting a bit frustrated with it, and as was I. I think we'd spoken not long before, and just to give everybody almost a bit of an understanding of what we're doing going forward. There are set dates, so make sure you keep your notification bell switched on and make sure you're on socials and all this sort of stuff. And we will let you know when white noise is going to be a consistent thing, and it will be 100% will be. We'll probably have what do you reckon it nailed down in the next week, Brownie? We'll have it nailed down in the next week what we're going to be doing regularly going forward. Brownie's got jobs going off here, there, and everywhere, so it's been. I'm not taking the blame for it, mate. You can take the blame for it.
No, it's my fault. Like,
it is a job. It is a job promotion, so I might let you have it.
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult. Like some nights, I'm not leaving training ground till 8:30, and then I'm sure nobody wants to be staying up till 10 o'clock at night listening to us drone on.
No.
Busy time of year. But yeah, hopefully we get something nailed down more regularly and we have something good to actually talk about. Because I mean, if we'd have done a show around deadline day, I think we'd have both been further depressed than we were when we started the show, to be honest.
I think we need it. We need it sometimes, me and you.
It's like a therapy.
Yeah, it is. And I think there was times, if we've been honest, when we back in the debrief days when we'd be doing it and we'd just be getting. Do you remember we'd be getting absolutely rifled week in, week out, and we'd get on here, and it was Monday night, wasn't it? And automatically we'd be annoyed. It'd be like you're annoyed anyway from the weekend. We'd get on and we'd be like, oh, fuck, we're gonna have to go through this all again, and the opinions here, there, and it was brilliant. But it was at that point, and it was Bielsa on it. It was Bielsa on the cusp. I think it was on that show where you were like, defending them, and I was like, I think it was on the debrief where I went, Brownie, I think we should make a change. I just remember you looking at me going, what?
I mean, yeah, that turned out well for us, didn't it? Like getting rid of him. Like we went from Marsh to Grazzi or whatever you were called to Allardyce.
Yeah,
fantastic decision, whatever that was.
But it's yeah, we need it though, mate. Don't we need a bit of stimulus? We need a bit of stuff to talk about. I always think, even if we've not caught up for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, we can kind of get into it a little bit more as well. Week on week, it's great and we love it, but it's great having a little bit more to chew on to. So, well, I guess
where do we start?
This is the problem. I need to make notes, but I guess it's probably a bit of a proud moment for you in general. And I was thinking about you on the night, and not a great moment for you personally, obviously with Sheffield Wednesday, but me and you were talking that night, and I think actually when you were telling me everything that was going on that night in terms of the players that were playing and featuring, that was getting me more annoyed. So then I was going on stream afterwards, and I think that night we'd just been training, and I'd had a beer afterwards with the lads, and then I'm messaging Brownie, and Brownie's going, you won't believe it, but this 16-year-old Granger, he was with me last week at Grimsby. I'm thinking, oh my God.
No,
I was blinding you anymore, yeah.
like I remember getting sent a clip, and I'm not against Fark. I think his hands are well and truly tied behind his back, and I defended him at the start of last season when he were getting pelters. Um, but someone sent me a clip of him saying that it wasn't as like we were playing a 21 side, and I was in the car and I'm thinking, no, you're right, Daniel. It wasn't a 21 side; it was an 18s. Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, there was. I mean, I think that night, I think there was seven or eight that were under 18s that a few had played with me a couple of weeks before, and
Must have been a weirdly proud moment for you in a sense, though. Like it's
no,
strange.
no, I was fuming. No, I mean the staff. I can't take any credit for like the staff that have worked with them boys over the last 2 3 years. Like
Yeah.
I remember speaking to a couple of coaches the next day and the day after, and like unbelievable what they've done with them. And for a teenager, there's not a better club in the country to be at right now than than Sheffield Wednesday. I don't think, but.
Reminds me a little bit of us back in the day, when it was almost like obviously all the first teamers were moving on, we were struggling. That was us for about a decade, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, when you had Taylor, Cook, Mowat, Byram all emerging at once, for a teenager, it's fantastic, it's unbelievable. But I mean, I think on that night, yes, we had a lot of chances. Calvert-Lewin could have scored a hat trick in 4 minutes. I'm sure we'll touch on him a little bit more in the show, but it was just so easy for Sheffield Wednesday. They didn't even have to defend that much. It was just getting a shape, and the only criticism of Leeds at the minute is,
I
have you
thought
seen that?
sorry, go
Have
on.
you, so have you seen that GIF of the woman off the chase where it's pass, 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 and that is
Yeah.
what it was like that night at Leeds. It was just pass, pass, pass. I remember thinking against Arsenal, and I know this is a few weeks ago, but the amount of times we'd get the ball finally in their half with a goal, with a free kick or a throw in, and it'd end up back at our keeper was unbelievable. Like it, so yeah, that night I don't even think it was an arrogance or anything. It was just too slow, and the longer it went on, the more you thought this isn't going to go well. This, and then obviously Havertz, the keeper, turned into prime Buffon. So yeah, that was.
Well, we've kind of gone in a bit of a weird way, but I just wanted to say, like, obviously, well done to you in a sense. But how you look at for all the way from the beginning of the season, Everton, and we kind of saw it a little bit then, didn't we? We kind of saw it a little bit in terms of, I thought anyway, the level of maybe Leeds' creativity going forward. But you were looking at Everton and thinking it is a good team, and you've seen what they've done since then, really. And I guess on the back of that, you've got Arsenal, we've got you've had Fulham as well. Newcastle. I mean, what have you made out of it, mate? What have you made of it so far? Are you positive? I think it's a point per game, isn't it? We've seen Sunderland flying a little bit, and I know Leeds fans do love to compare to Sunderland, and I kind of have a wry look at them every now and again. But I was having a chat today, Brownie, and I just thought to myself, I wonder if Sunderland would have had our games and we'd have had Sunderland's games, and Burnley would have, if it was all switched around, because Burnley
To become honest, you know what I'm like. I say it as I see it. I think it's a nonsense to be comparing points after 4 games because we've been to the Emirates of Sunderland. No, we've played
Yeah.
Newcastle, who are in the Champions League of Sunderland. No, okay. So I think it's so false. And on the flip side, Burnley can say we've been to Tottenham, we've played Liverpool. So at this stage of
Man
the
United as
season,
well. Man United.
yeah, exactly. So I think at this stage of the season, I think all 3 teams, if you'd have offered them the start they've had, I think all 3 take it. I really do. I really do. If you'd have said to me, I remember saying on the last show we did, I want 5 points out of the first 6 games, and you said that would be a really, really good start with what we've got. Okay, that's easily achievable. We just need a point at Wolves, and we've achieved that. I think it's just been for me, and I never want to sit on the fence, but I genuinely I don't know which way to go with it. We're 90 seconds away from an unbelievable point at Fulham that we'd have all snapped our hands off on the way down for. We'd have all taken a point on Saturday morning. But then on the flip side, I'm thinking we've scored 1 penalty. And then I flip back and I think, yeah, but we've kept 2 clean sheets. So honestly, I'm back and forth with how a good start it's been. I think we'll know for sure after the Wolves game whether it's been a good start, a really good start, or bang average. Because I think if we get beat at Wolves, then that good start that we had has just absolutely disintegrated.
It's probably a team you're looking at as well and thinking to yourselves, we need, with them foot at the table, missing out the striker, Strand Larsen, the 14-goal man last season. You've got to get a win, really. Oh, well, I don't know if it's is it we don't want to jump ahead too quickly, but is it a must win or a must not lose?
I think it's a must not lose. Definitely. The point at Fulham would have eased the pressure to the Fulham for the Wolves game, and this is why I don't want to harp on about Sheffield Wednesday and go on about it, but this is why that game was just. It came at such the bad time. It came at such the wrong time. Ramazani had just gone. The transfer window was coming to a close, and we weren't doing anything. And to get knocked out of the cup by kids, and I know Fark said they weren't. They were. Like I've said to you off air, I went to QPR at the weekend with their 18s, and there's 2 or 3 of them there that were involved against Leeds. So they were kids. So yeah, it's a bizarre start. You look at on the surface of it, of points wise, brilliant. But then, like I've said, 1 goal. It was a dubious penalty, by the way. Okay, if you take that away, we haven't scored a goal. But then you look at Villa; they haven't scored a goal. So it is very early days, and I don't think we're doing too bad. There was a lot of talk about the Fulham game. This was bad. This was bad. Like I say, we were moments away from a really good away performance. And at half time, Fulham hadn't even had a shot. And this is a team that we're away to, who, correct me if I'm not wrong, finished top 10 in the Premier League last season. Okay. And we've limited them to no shots at goal, not even a shot off target. No shots they had in that first half.
There's something strange to it, isn't there? There's something which is a bit odd right now. I think we're all kind of at this point of which maybe it's because you've got maybe Farker. I don't know about you, and maybe this is something that the chat can and everybody get your thoughts in the comment section below as well. Maybe it's the fact that do you reckon he knows his team yet? I know it's not been helped by injuries and stuff like that, but I guess when you see him Aronson wide right, and I know we've always, me and you've kind of gone back and forth a bit before Brownie on Nonto as an example, but I guess James is on the bench at the weekend as well, and you're kind of looking at it now. And
let me jump in, right? Because we've both said Dan James in the Championship's completely different to Dan James in the Premier League. The minute, and you know my thoughts on Aronson, I'm not his biggest fan in the slightest. I mean, I won't even pretend to be any fan of him. But when he went off and James came on and then Bogle came on, Bogle was in a world of trouble, a lot more. Okay.
And would you look at James? Would you look at James at Brownie? Because I think he's been off all season, to be honest with you.
I've not seen Dan James since Oxford away last season in the Championship.
He's not fit, is he? He's not fit.
He got injured at Middlesbrough. They rushed him back and he came on in the Oxford game. And I don't, he's not been the same player since he went off injured at Middlesbrough. And then when I go to the other side, and I saw loads of it with Harrison, why is he coming on, changing it for Okafor? They brought Traore on that right-hand side. So for me, it was clear that he brought him on to double him up with Goodmanson, because Traore wouldn't at Goodmanson on his own 1v1. Again, world of trouble. And I don't think Traore got much change out of that side when he came on. He was always having to come back, and tactically, putting Harrison over there, it just meant he was boxed up a little bit more. The downside to that is Fark's making subs not to win the game. He's making subs to not lose it, and that only goes well if you don't lose it. And like I said, 94th minute header in his own goal. You're seconds away from Fark coming away going, my subs were fantastic, kept us at 0-0.
And he would have.
But then on the flip side, again, there's more sides flipping here, there, and everywhere. They're bringing on Kevin, worth 30-40 million, who...
Your mate as well even came on, didn't he? Old Tom.
Kearney. And Fark, to his credit, has openly, publicly said, I needed 3 signings, and they didn't come. So we're bringing on an unfit Dan James, Jack Harrison that nobody wants, and a free transfer in Lucas Mecha, who I'm not knocking, by the way. I think he's done all right. They're bringing on £40 million player and Traore,
Can I be devil's advocate with you? Do you think that with what he's saying, I get it, completely get it. I understand what he's saying. I think I mentioned it this morning, mate. I think it's getting to a stage now where I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of hearing the fact that we've got an inferior squad. We don't have the technical players. We can't compete with teams in this division. For me, I kind of look at it and think, fair enough. But personally, I think on that right hand side, I think we spoke about in pre-season. Nonto looks brilliant at tracking back. You know, another level. We even spoke about it, didn't we?
It
I think
does, and I agree. But the goal at the corner that Kevin's took, he's absolutely skipped past Nonto like he's not there.
do you think that's maybe the fact that he's come on in the 88th, 89th minute though, and he's a bit rusty.
Possibly.
I don't want to give it. I kind of just look at it, mate, and I think, and maybe Farker thinks differently, and it comes back to the original conversation of, do you think he knows his best 11? I look at it and I think to myself, in that game, why is Nonto not starting on that side? And we have Okafor, we have DCL, and we have Nonto as a 3 going forward. That's kind of what I want to see, and I want to see it
It
embedded in.
is, but if you open yourself too much up away from home, you're going to get absolutely dicked.
So do you think we look more open with Nonto on the right than you would do an Aronson?
Well, we did.
But do you think as well you sacrifice what we have going forward and maybe
Oh,
combination
of
play going
course, yeah,
forward?
of course. You're feeding off scraps going forward. You're playing to not lose rather than to win. But because of that inferior squad and inferior depth, the other teams are better. You've got to plug the gap somehow. People weren't moaning when we played Newcastle and took a point off them. I don't think we played expansive football in that game. We went for it against Everton, right from the offset. Arsenal, correct me if I'm not wrong, but it was Dan James on one side, Nonto on the other, which is what you're asking for, and we got absolutely destroyed. We had no attacking outlet, even with them on the pitch.
Yeah, I guess some of them you're looking at and you're thinking, when it comes to was that Peru starting up top as well? I think it was on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't. I mean, what about you then? Would you like to see going forward? And I know you have to be pragmatic, and we're asking for him to be pragmatic, Farker. But who's your forward 3? Who's your front 3 going forward? Because he can't. For me, there can't be changes consistently like this. We need to see like an understanding between the 3 as well.
My front three. Well, you're saying Fart doesn't know his best team. I don't think any of us do, if I'm being totally honest.
Not a problem.
Uh, yeah, yeah, it probably is. I think different games require different things. I mean, going away to Wolves, I think you've got to go and just take the game to them.
Yeah.
I think they're in our bracket of teams that could go down. I don't put Fulham in that bracket. So going away to Fulham, completely understand why he's gone a little bit more reserved, a little bit more defensive,
Yeah.
and it nearly paid off. They'd have got clapped off left, right, and centre, online, at the ground, all week if we'd have gone to Fulham and took a point. Nobody have had any grumbles.
I think there's context to be applied as well with it, because I mean, I stuck out the socials. I thought his subs killed us a bit. I thought we dropped 10 yards, and I thought they started to push us back. But obviously, it is the quality that you have with Kevin and Traore coming on and pushing us back. I think maybe I just thought to myself, if you've got another attacking presence on there, then maybe you can force Fulham back as well, because they're nervous about Leeds on transition.
I totally agree. I mean, after the Okafor chance where it's got blocked about 5 minutes into the second half.
Was on ball. I don't know why nobody shouted. He looked like Bassey blocked it with his arm, and I was screaming penalty, but it didn't look like anybody else thought it was.
After that, though, I can't remember the ball. Stack had a shot that dragged wide.
Yeah,
I don't recall anything else of any
no,
noticeable thing
no.
in that second half. But when you're going to play like that, when you do get your one or two chances, they have to go in the net. I mean, Calvert-Lewin's header has to go in the net.
I thought he was on as well, wasn't he? He looked like he was
Oh,
on.
he's 6 yards out. It has to go in.
I agree. I thought that. I said on either side of the keeper, he's got to score. I agree. A lot of people aren't talking about that DCL header. That had to go in. It really did.
And
Yeah,
then, but it's one of them, innit? Like
yeah.
things, goals change games. But I came away deflated. But there was I felt like it was a positive performance.
Can't be many more of those, though, can there? Dropping points and having a positive performance. I guess unless you're playing the big teams, Brownie. Unless you're playing the big boys.
Say that, but did we not nick points against Everton? Did we deserve all 3?
I don't know if we did against Newcastle. Everton, I'd say we were probably the better team.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
probably
what I mean. So in these games, and I hope it comes round, because I always remember saying to my brother on the way back, imagine if we go down by a point, 94th minute own goal. Like it, you'd like to think that stuff happens during the season that rectifies that situation. But
well, I'll tell you what, mate.
I remember saying in the summer that our expectations and thought process, that was going to be the biggest challenge for Leeds fans, because we've gone from handing out drubbings week in, week out to we're not going to win many. We're not going to. There's going to be more sad weekends than good weekends. And
do you want to go switch your light on before?
Yeah, I'm going to say I feel like I'm in the dark.
Lazy Z says Farker is inept, keeps his favourites, which are solely champ level. Aronson, Harrison. Ian Browner said, how TF is Conor 32? I'm hoping you mean I look younger than that, mate, because I get a lot of insults on here, so I'm praying that's what that means. I'd take Rothwell.
Just interesting on that. Sorry, would he still be saying
32? Go on.
No, the inept comment. If we were sat here on, if Goodmanson put the ball in the net and we sat here with 5 points after 4 games, is he still
that's the aim of the game, though? You're a manager, you're a coach. You know that's the aim of the game. You're gonna get that gun pointed to your head if you don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but as a coach and a manager, if I'm Fark, I'm thinking I've done everything. I can't help Goodmanson sticking a header into the 94th minute into my own goal.
But people are gonna
I can't help that.
People are gonna criticize.
I disagree. I flip it round. You can pin it, for example, then from over the hill, hammer on. He won't change his formation. He's sticking with that 3-4-3, and it is killing him. You can pin that on him. But Fark, he's changed things. People weren't happy with Pro Up Top. He's changed that. Yeah. People weren't happy with the goalkeeper. He went and got another one. Things that people haven't been happy with. It hasn't just been right, my way or no way, is what I'm trying to say. He has changed things about. I think people need to really rein in their expectations this season. Like, I don't know what people. I think you hear the word Fulham and you think, yeah, we're big with it. We are bigger than Fulham, but we're not better than them. They've got better players. They've got a better team.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think I would have, and hindsight's a wonderful thing, but you know what I'm like. I would have started with this anyway. I'd have gone Nonso. I think Nonso would have made a bit more of a difference. I think I'd have brought him on before James as well.
Yeah, I agree with bringing him on before James.
Yeah, but look, I think a lot of it with him, because he comes out, Donny Farker, and he's got the words, he's got the language, the verbatim, of which he kind of, I feel sometimes he detracts a little bit away from himself. But I think overall, when you look at that game, there wasn't that much wrong. I thought the substitutes weren't great, but at the same time, I also thought, Nonso should have started. But aside from that, someone said it to me today. I'm doing a show today. They said, Conor, would you have taken a point at Fulham? I went, 100%. I said it before the game. I think what it does do is it puts a little bit more pressure on Wolves.
100%. I
think it puts a little bit more on that.
He can't get beat at Wolves. Get beat at Wolves. I think it's a really interesting period coming up, because obviously I won't have the order right, but we've got.
I'll tell you, mate. I do this every day.
Wolves, Bournemouth, Tottenham, Burnley coming up.
So we've got so first one, you're gonna have to write these down, because these are when you're going away as well. You could be going to all these games, but yeah, we've got Wolves, and then we've got Bournemouth at home, Tottenham at home.
Yeah.
Then we've got Burnley away, West Ham at home.
So that 5 games, you've got Burnley, West Ham,
Wolves.
3 games that what we've just said in this situation, where you're not going to win every game, but you've got to target some games where you're going to have to take points. There's 3 out of 5 where we have to take points in them.
I think as well, you look at, isn't it funny how everything's changed with like Bournemouth now as well? We look at Bournemouth, the top of the running stats, they've just got quality players everywhere, haven't they? And with Bournemouth, what a weird team. We're kind of looking at them, and like you've just quite rightly said, Leeds United should be beating Bournemouth. No, they shouldn't. No, that Bournemouth are a very, very good team. So it's like I think even after that game, you go away to Wolves, get a good result, but then you go into these 2 at home, and for the first time, Brownie, in 2 years, there is big potential that back-to-back at home, Leeds get drubbed. There is potential there, and this is why I think Wolves, I think, quite like you've quite rightly said, West Ham. Do you remember that game a couple of years ago? It felt like West Ham was a massive game. Cresswell was starting at centre back, and Antonio spun him in the last minute, and they beat him 2-1.
1-0.
Oh, was it 1-0? But it just feels like those three are big, and like you said, quite. I think people are mainly. I think we'll be fine in this period. I wouldn't write off Burnley as well, though, because I think Burnley have actually been putting in some good performances. They've just been against very decent teams. They lost in the last minute, last two, haven't they, against Man United and Liverpool? So
it's interesting that you say that they've been putting in good performances because they lost in the last minute.
Yeah.
So did we. But yeah, they're putting in good performances, and we're getting everything wrong.
And interestingly, with it as well, you know, when you look at Sunderland, you know, it was so interesting, I thought, at the weekend, how all the teams had parallels. They all went down, like they all went against their opposition to shut up shop. All of them. Burnley wouldn't encroach beyond the halfway. I think Liverpool had 30 shots. Leeds, obviously, I would say when you watched all games, I don't know if you caught Sunderland at all, but I think when you watched all the games, Leeds were probably the best performing team out of all of them. I thought Burnley, look, I mean, it's Liverpool, it's relative, but Liverpool battered them. You look at the Sunderland game, I thought Sunderland were in the game, but I thought Roofs, the Palace keeper, had to make 2 or 3 brilliant saves. I don't really think we were troubled that much by Fulham at all, to be honest with you.
That was the more frustrating thing. I remember saying to my brother, would you have rather got pumped 3-0 than lose 1-0 in the 94th minute? Because they literally didn't lay a glove on us. They didn't have any clear-cut chances. Kevin's cut in and had a shot, which I want to see it back. I think Darlow's made it look way more difficult to save than it needed to be.
I thought the Wilson one was a good one because I didn't realise it had deflected. You know, the free kick.
No, I didn't know it had. But yeah, an interesting question for you and maybe that people watching, because I see it a lot. Farks inept. We should be beating it. How many squads in the Premier League are better than ours?
Oh God, on the spot.
Or how many squads have we? Which squad is ours better than? How many?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'd say Burnley's. They've got a better squad than Burnley. I think.
Right, so that's us finishing 19th. Any more?
I think us and Sunderland are probably on par.
Right. So when you put it into them terms, we've got no divine right to go and win any game of football.
No.
So to be competing, I think apart from the Arsenal game, we have competed in every game. It's not like last season where there were 3 whipping boys. Okay, we have competed in every game and taken points out of two out of 4 games so far.
Well, Rise just said here, you have to try and target 6 points against Wolves and Bournemouth because getting anything against Tottenham will be, to be honest, right. I look at what Bournemouth did to Tottenham at Tottenham Stadium. They only beat them 1-0, but they took an absolute whipping Tottenham. I think it could be, this sounds bizarre, but we might have more of a chance against Tottenham than we do.
They'll be on the way back from Norway, from Champions League. So
there's a lot of that to take into context as well. There's a lot of that. You look at Forest, you look at all the other teams who are playing. That's all kicking in now. Europe's kicking in now. So, you know, it's a good point, Brownie, that Europe is going to become a big thing now for these teams as well. Not a lot of them have massive squads. So
we've got to clutch at any form of
course we have,
thing we can. But yeah, it's such a difficult question to answer. Where do you lie with Leeds at the minute? Because it's like that Gattuso. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. It's difficult because we're good in so many areas, but if you can't put the ball in the back of the net, we're in major trouble.
Yeah, mate. Sorry, I was just bellowing out for a decaf tea there. I do listen
the high life.
I do listen to you more often than not, I promise. I know when Brown is in trouble anyway. We have to kick off it. You'll see his champions poster there, and you'll see his lovely missus. You'll just see a shadow on the frame behind him, and he'll go like that. So that's when you know it's time up. I think Sunderland's squad is better. There is more dynamic midfield and better forwards. Interesting though, Jimmy, XG wise, I actually believe that we have created more. Looked at the stats today, and I think we're at a very similar level when it comes to XG against, which I know a lot of people don't take it into consideration. I completely get that, but it just shows that Leeds defensively and Sunderland defensively have been very decent. I would say actually Burnley, look at the teams they've been playing. I think Burnley look pretty strong as relative opponents like Sunderland. Obviously, they played them at home and beat them 2-0. But and obviously Liverpool, they're unlucky there. But I think a lot of the teams, interestingly enough, Brownie, when we look at that XG against and being decent at the back, it feels like all of us look pretty all right at the back.
Competitive, yeah.
It feels like with all of us, and this is backed up by the statistics, we're all going to struggle going forward a little bit. And I can't help bringing myself back to Brownie. I think
that's why us strikers were paid the big bucks.
That's why, mate. You bang on, you bang on. But it's why you kind of look at it and think, Opta did something at the beginning of the season, and I know every single season's different. I completely understand that. I think Everton have had a very low score in a couple of seasons and stayed up. But right now, if you want to guarantee at the very beginning of the season staying up, 45 goals. So effectively, if you just want to guarantee it, and we're talking about that, you may be looking at a striker who can get you 10 to 13 goals at a bare minimum. And then an Ipswich had that in Liam Delap, but then Liam Delap's next guy, the next guy who was scoring the second amount of goals, I think he had 3. I think it was Hutchinson. So you've got to have a decent array of scorers just below them, and maybe your lead marksman getting at least above 10 goals. So it's all well and good being tight at the back, completely get it, but you've got to score goals.
Yeah, I mean, come the end of the season, it's not a science, but the tables normally look that your goals, a goal is a point in terms of goals and points.
Yeah.
It's
true.
not always that. For example, Leeds last year, 100 points, 95 goals. Okay, your goals are normally in and around how many points you get, and at the minute we scored 1 goal. That is the problem of where we're at the minute. We scored 1 goal.
Rick says we are the worst side, and due to the massive mismanagement of the transfer window, we have ended up worse than prior to it. Fuck won't change. We are doomed. Rick, I'd like, even if, mate, I have a little niggling thing in the back of my head thinking we ain't going to get to that goal tally. I can't think to myself. I always go in, Rick, and I can be a right moaner, as everybody knows, but I always go into every single game thinking that Leeds might be able to do something here. And I always come on the day and I'll be texting mates. I'll be saying, look, we'll do this one today. And then you can have the meltdown afterwards, can't you? That's fine. But yeah, no, I think you've got to go into this season with some level of copium and delusion, maybe as a football fan. I think we've all got to do it. But I do think, can you squeeze enough juice out of this team to be able to stay up? My naive or maybe deluded part of me says yes. I do think so. I do think the juice is worth the squeeze. I do think we'll be able to get enough out of this side. I mean, I said we're going to finish in the bottom 3, but I can't. Your head and your heart are 2 different things, aren't they? I'm just hoping that maybe Farker is going to be able to extract enough. Here's a question for you. Will he stay the course of the season, Daniel Farker?
How many games is it to January transfer window?
12, 13, 14? Maybe. Do you think he does, or do you think we're kind of looking at that? I mean,
I think he does.
You think he stays the full season?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's hopefully it's good anyway, because you would expect.
I think a big thing for Leeds this season will be the home form. We've played 2 home games and not got beat. We've played 2 home games, not conceded a goal.
Yep.
It's how we're going to get points away from home.
And how many wins do you reckon? 3? I think you need 3 wins away from home. I think you need probably 9 points, and then you need to get the rest of maybe a couple of more than that draws on the road. But then you need to
3 wins, 3 draws, 12 points away from home. Then you're looking at 28 at home. What's that? 8 wins, couple of draws. It's not doable. We've already got 1 win at home. You're looking at another 7 wins at home. What's that? Someone with quick maths, 21 points.
Yeah.
On 3, that's 24. And you're looking at 3 wins away. It's another 9, 33. Few draws. It's doable. It's not.
As a coach, would you ever look? We're talking. I was talking to this, talking about this a little bit earlier on in terms of changing system at points. I mean, I'm looking at Jacobiol on the bench. I'm seeing a back through this Leeds United side, and I'm thinking we were saying in pre-season, surely that's something that he might be able to temper with a bit this season. But how realistic is it for you to be able to go from a 4-3-3 to a 3 at the back and include Jacobiol? Because it looks like at the back, obviously, you throw in another centre back there, don't you? You take another one out of attack, but
We
maybe
already can't score goals. How are we going to score them if we put another defender? Tell you what, I don't think I'd ever sit down and go, right, how could I score a goal? Tell you what, we'll put another defender on.
What about if you, because then effectively, if you're putting 3 at the back, you're chucking Goodmanson a bit further forward, aren't you? And you're chucking Bogle a little bit further forward. Obviously, you're alienating wingers a little bit more. But if you went to a 3-4-3, maybe at points, you might be able to chuck a few more forwards into the box if those lot are providing that wide play.
That would mean. I think we'd end up just being a back 5. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I think if you start playing, say, I don't know, game at the weekend. Say the game at the weekend, the Fulham game, we're a back 3, and you've got Kevin on one side and Traore on the other. I think instantly Bogle and Goodmanson get pegged back.
Yeah.
Got
to think about solutions, haven't we, mate?
It's the home form's key. As long as we keep picking up points at home, and like you said, your Wolves away, you pick up the odd win here and there. We're giving ourselves half a chance, but the goals is a massive problem for me, and it's nothing that none of us don't know. Every man and his dog said we needed a striker. We've said we needed a striker for the last 3 seasons.
Do you not think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is that then, from what you've seen?
Will he get to 15 goals? I don't see it.
Could he get to 10?
He can if he starts hitting the back of the net. It's not like he hasn't had the chances. He could be on 4 easy already.
Yeah, he could.
You keep saying, "Oh, he's getting in the right places, getting in the right places." At some point, that needs to go in the net.
That's what I was kind of saying to you about. That's what I was kind of referencing to you about. You know, when you're saying, "Well, you've lost 1-0 away," and it's taking away the positives. And I guess you've got to do that as a coach, as a manager. You've got to take away the positives. But if you're in a game and you're in a game against a mid bracket side, there can't be too many more of those, can there, in the Premier League? You've got to take, if you're in the game at that point, you've got to get something, haven't you? That's
I mean, with 10 minutes to go, there's not many opportunities you're going to get to win a game of football away from home in the Premier League as a newly promoted team. 10 minutes to go, 0-0. They weren't really at it. I'd have probably gone for it more. 100% gone for it.
I'm glad you've said that. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to, all right. And you take a point.
Sorry to put in, but this is what Bielsa was lambasted for. Too open, but he always went to win games of football.
Yeah, he did. Always wanted to win.
Yeah, and I just think that game's so tight. Just go for it. If you get beat, at least you can say, "You know what, we went for it." If you get beaten, you're just sat in.
But that could be the problem as well, couldn't it? You know, we're talking about the amount of goals that Leeds score, but if we're going into certain games of which you're looking at us and you're thinking, right, we're competitive. We're very competitive against them at the weekend, but there's maybe a handbrake on, and after that 60, 70th minute mark, he's bringing these subs on. You're going, we're sitting in. We dropped 5 yards.
It seemed very reactionary to the Traore and Kevin substitutions.
Would you like us to be more proactive instead of reactionary?
A bit later on in the game, I think if we open ourselves up too soon, then we're cooked. But yeah,
we're cooked. Look at you getting down with the kids. You can tell they're hanging around with Sheffield Wednesday under 18. Football team. That is football team.
It's a really fine line, because the substitutions, you're right, theirs were better, but every team's going to make better substitutions.
Yeah. 100%. Nate says 3 at the back isn't necessarily a defensive formation. Mick says your biggest threat up front gets kicked out on loan. You couldn't make it up. People talking about Jose Mourinho coming in. Pete says, does Brownie think no open play goals in 4 games is good though? Surely that's not a good start, or what they would have taken. We've been awful up front, 0-0s, and you don't stay up. We're not going for a point per game.
No goals in open play is nowhere near good enough. Not at all.
Mm.
We almost had 3 clean sheets out of 4. So it's finding that balance, and at the minute, the scales are tipped too heavily one way. I think it's too cautious. Is cautious the right word?
Yeah. I think it is. I think
we're too.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that against Everton. In the first game of the season against Everton, I don't think Everton got in our half.
Yeah, bang at it, weren't we?
First half. So it's like, well, why have we gone from being like that? Honestly, if Everton had come in 1-2, 3-0 down in that first half, they could not have complained. Whereas Sheffield Wednesday, Arsenal, Fulham, who else? Newcastle. I don't think we've had too many glaring chances in open play throughout the game.
We haven't.
In fact, we probably had more chances against Everton in the other 4 games combined. So,
who's your midfield 3 going forward? I tell you where I'm at with it.
I think Stack's getting away with murder the last couple of games.
I agree. I think there was one time, and I do love him, and I think he's created. I think he's something like he's created like top. He was second, I think, in the Premier League before this weekend. I'm not sure where he is now, but there was one point of which he had the ball, and I think we love it when he shoots. We do love it when he shoots, and we love it when a player shoots. But there's a point at the weekend where he got the ball at the edge of the area. He's 30 yards out, and I think it was maybe it wasn't 3-on-3, but it was 3-on-5 maybe, and Leeds could have built. And he hits it, and he scuffs it, and there's a P rolls up, and I'm thinking we're not getting many of those transitional moments in. You've just completely wasted it. You've just,
there was one he passed
it around the corner.
There was one. Who was at right back for them? Yeah, there was one where we broke, and he looked up to try and get Okafor, and he passed it straight to Tete. And I thought, do you know what? If that's Aronson, or if that's Harrison, they're getting absolutely hammered.
I thought he did quite well. You know, when Aronson had the shot on goal and he got to the byline and crossed it, but backwards.
Listen, I'm not saying he's a bad player or anything. I was saying he's not been at the races in the last couple either.
Do you think it's interesting how the 3? This is what I've said, Brownie, as well. I think there could be an opportunity because you look at that 3 at the weekend. I think Longstaff's developing a lot. I think the last 2 Longstaff's been really good. I think Ampadu came back in, and do you know what I love about him, Brownie? His conditioning. Every time he comes back in, his first game, I always think he's right at it. He's right at it, and it takes a lot for a player to do that. I remember he used to take Luke Ayling as an example quite a while to get back into it. He's somebody who I always remember it'd take Luke 3 or 4 games to properly get back in it. But I think the interesting conversation is here. Do you have those 3? And then do you bring Tanaka on at a point and maybe a little bit more of an attacking force? And you've got that almost steady rear guard, which have kept you in the game. And we keep talking about 5 subs and how important that is now. Tanaka could definitely be an asset off the bench. And or is it a case of, look, you have to start Tanaka every single week?
Whatever started against Everton.
That's what you're going for, yeah.
I'm Ampadu, Tanaka, and still Stack.
Ryan just says, as I remember you said on the watch along, use your brain, Anton. I think that was.
I don't want to see him on any more free kicks or corners. He's 7'5". Just put him in the box.
Do you know what as well? And can he take them that well?
There was one where Dan James won a free kick right in front of the away end, and he's hit it straight at the first man.
Yes.
I'm thinking if you're that big, you have to be like James Ward-Prowse, David Beckham-esque on free kicks. If you're that big and not in the box,
that's not his. But that's Farker. That's not his fault. Yeah. How is he? Brownie. Do you know what? I looked at something the other day, Brownie, and it was set pieces. And I think it was when Everton stayed up in 23-24. They scored 14 goals from set pieces. 14. I think in 19-20. Chris Wilder's Sheffield United scored 19 from set pieces. And if we're alienating that side of our game, and we're scoring all goals now from open play, and we're not focusing on that, you've got a guy who's 6'4". I think he's the biggest player in the team. It's either him or Stroud.
Oh, 100%.
Not in the box. Brownie, he's won. Here's another stat to blow your bloody socks off. Aerial duels, he's won 85%. And he's taking set pieces.
I'm not saying Farke's faultless in any kind of way, because they're decisions that the manager makes. I think back to like when Harry Kane was on corners for England. What are you doing? Get in the box.
Same thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, and at the other end of the scale, in the other box, we've conceded in two games from set pieces.
Yeah.
Conceded at Arsenal from a corner. Conceded at Fulham from a corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, they need to be worked on, don't they? They need to be worked on. Was it two set pieces? It was two set pieces against Arsenal, wasn't it? Because Jury and Timber got in between Strauch and Rodon at about 5'8", and knocked it in.
That was the one I was thinking of. What was the other one?
In my head, they scored like their first corner, didn't they?
There was the one. Yeah, that was the Timber one. So there was the
he
one.
Scored twice, didn't he? Did he score twice from a corner?
Yeah, there was the Saka one where Perry was stood like Statue of Liberty. There was the Gyökeres penalty. There was the Timber one. There was the Gyökeres one where Strikes allowed him to run from Highbury into the box.
That was so bad, wasn't it?
What is he doing? He picked up the ball in like West London and ran for about 40 yards to the 6-yard box.
He literally, someone said as well with Gyökeres, they were like, he runs in jeans, and it's like you're just letting him run. It's like, well, man.
I can't think of the other one.
Got to move on from the zonal marking as well, haven't they? I think that's another thing that I'd be looking at doing, just man for man.
You've got your zonal marking, but then you've got Rodon, Strike, and I don't know where Stack stood, but then you got Goodmanson and that picking up.
Goodmanson was on Bassey, wasn't he? Yeah, that was funny. Bassey's just moved him away.
Probably why I put it in his own neck. He was like just so off balance.
Yeah. Jimmy just said Ampadu first name on the team sheet for me. I think I always thought Ampadu was going to be a great addition. Jimmy's also
brother asked me who was my favourite player in the league squad, because I remember last year there was a lot of November time. You can't relate to this team. You like with the Bielsa team. You liked Ayling, you liked Phillips, you liked Click, you liked Hernandez, you liked Talioski. There was a lot of like interaction with the fans.
Well, they came up with us, hadn't they, as well? They brought us from the Dolphins.
And last year there was a lot of do you know what I mean? It changed towards the end of the season. And my brother said, "Who's your favourite player?"
Yeah.
And I'm still with Ampadu and Bogle.
Yeah, I'd agree. Or Tanaka, maybe. Tanaka in there.
Yeah, and I'm thinking these two are my favourite players. First names on the team sheet and win the Premier League. Like, we've spent 100 million on 10 players.
Oh, yeah. And as well, when you're looking at Tanaka as well, he was bought in the champ as well, wasn't he? So
our key players haven't been brought in.
Jimmy says Farke needs to win games like Fulham and flip his mindset instead of settling for a point. And I think that's what we've just been saying, Matt. I agree with that. George Robinson says deadliest versions of Conor McGilligan is Conor and Brownie and Conor and Get. They get me into a venomous state when it comes to Leeds. If I'm just talking here by myself, all that can wind me up is you guys. But actually seeing Brownie and he'll put points to me, and I don't know what deadliest means. Is that a good thing? Maybe deadliest is a good thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm at the top.
I wish Dominic Calvert-Lewin were deadly.
Playing 3-5-2 would allow Rodon or Beal to go to whichever side they have the ball to cover our wing. So many numerical twos in here, mate. To cover our wing back, that's forward to set pieces. We'd have Beal, Strout, Rodon. Yeah, and I mean, he's not a fan. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, Beal wasn't great against Wednesday. I don't think any of them were good against Wednesday, though. It was your boy, was it your boy Sakiri, who anytime Okafor came up against him, he just shoved him backwards, the 19-year-old right back, Sagiri or whatever he was called, the 19-year-old.
Yeah, and then the 17-year-old Joe Emery came on at right back as well.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, direct question. From what you've seen, staring the pot, from what you've seen, is Matteo Joseph the best number? No, I'm joking. Is Ramazan?
he can't even score for Real Mallorca, by the way.
I'm joking. But do you think Okafor, in terms of a player, in terms of what you're seeing right now, do you think there's like a level up on Ramzan, or do you think there's sort of a similar-esque player? What do you reckon?
There were more positives in the Fulham game
I
for
thought there was. I thought there was, yeah.
Okafor.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I hadn't seen anything. I
Mm.
hadn't seen anything of him. Um,
I
right now,
still think
in
think
answer to
he's
your question, I don't think there's a massive difference from what I've seen at the minute, which makes it even more bewildering that we've gone and spent 20 million on one,
yeah, I
loaned
agree,
out
yeah.
the other to
Yeah.
get. If you're loaning one out and spending 20 million, the step up's got to be massive, and
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I think it's interesting, isn't it, with us off that left-hand side, and it feels like with Solomon and maybe with Okafor a little bit, they loved, and Solomon obviously was very good at it at championship level, but it's cutting in. And it felt like I thought maybe Ramazani hit the byline a little bit more. Maybe Farker wants it to be a little bit less distance between the players, and for us to be a little bit more compact even in build up. And I don't know, maybe that's why we look at Okafor. I'm not
Ramazani gave the ball away far too much to be playing in the
well.
Premier League.
That's what I think. That's what I think he was. I don't think you could ever look at Ramazani and think that's one thing Okafor does. I think you don't see him lose the ball a lot. I think when I was watching him against Fulham, I thought he will always keep possession. I think with Ramazani, it was very much maverick. It was, I'm going to get the
Yeah.
ball, I'm going to run at you. And the funniest thing is, it can be a detriment to your team, but also it's the thing that we crave as well because teams need
Of
it.
course. I mean, if you put this is going to sound mental, but if you put him in like a Bournemouth or a Brighton, I think you see him look loads better.
Ramazani.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just like almost the cover and the technical ability and physicality
Yeah.
around him. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But when you're a newly promoted team, you're not going to have much of the ball. Anytime you lose it, you're going to be right under the cosh. I just don't. It was clear he wasn't for Fark. He barely played in the Championship, so he didn't stand a chance at
Yeah,
playing in the Premier League.
yeah, yeah. No, no, yeah. I guess it's just a good point of a conversation.
But
Riley,
no, you bang on, mate. There's no, from what I've seen, there's no
difference.
wow,
Yeah,
that was really good that we brought him in.
yeah. He looks. He's 6 foot tall. I've said this earlier on. I think with the ball at his feet, he looks really good. I think when he hits that byline, there's a couple of times where Anderson cut him off and Kenny Tete cut him off, and he kind of almost like gave up on it. And maybe there was a little bit of a lack of confidence, or I mean, he's a big boy, and I think physicality is a big thing in the Premier League, but he didn't really feel like he's using his body a lot. And I think that's maybe something that can be developed in his game a little bit. But he was cutting inside a lot. I'd like to see him hit that byline a little bit more, to be honest with you. But there was times he was hitting that byline. I was looking in the box, and there's no one there. If he hits the byline, there was 2 times he hit the byline on the watch long we were doing. I said, cross it. He put 2 in. I think one hit the first man, but one went in near the penalty. There's nobody there. Calvin Bassey just picks it up. So
It was bizarre though, because I felt like that last year. I felt like there were times that Firpo were getting to the box, or Solomon was getting to the byline, or James, and he were cutting it back, and there'd be Pirro. That'd be it.
Well, Jared said as well, Okafor lost the ball 19 times. I'd be interested to see where that was, Jared, because when you were watching him a lot of the time, I think Remy's just put it in as well, that he's lost it 16 times. I think when you look at these risky plays and these plays in the attacking third, naturally that's always going to happen. And we're looking at Okafor every single time. And it depends what you mean when you say lost the ball. He's not kicking the ball to the opposition. A lot of it might have been him trying to beat his man and not quite getting that end result of which the defender will then pick it off him. I think with Okafor, we've got to look at him a lot, guys, this season. And Brownie, you'll probably attest to this. You've got to look at him and think, well, you're the creator now. You're the creator, so you're going to lose the ball a hell of a lot. And it's quite interesting when we're talking about Ramazani, because Ramazani used to do the same thing, but it's what Okafor's going to have to do to facilitate things.
It's a good point. Like it would be good to see the clips of where he's lost the ball and how he's lost the ball.
Yeah. It would be.
I just felt with Ramazani, he just seemed to be running into dead ends a lot. I mean, I can't remember what game it was. It was back end of last season. He got the ball. It was a game. I think it might have been the one where Nonto has scored late on, 87th minute or something, at the Cop end, and then they've gone down the other end and scored about a minute or two later.
Oh, was it Blackburn? Was it Blackburn?
God knows.
I think it was Blackburn, yeah. Yeah.
But there were games like that where he'd come on, and there was one game where he came on at the West side. He's got the ball and he's running straight across the middle of the pitch. It's like, where are you running to? What are you doing? Like, like I think Maverick's the right word. He did things that didn't really make sense.
You'd have kept him though, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely.
You'd have kept him.
But I mean, like Fark's very system based and
Yeah.
methodical, and when you've got a player who's doing things that you don't really understand why he's doing it, it's not going. It's not going to.
No. Yeah, it's interesting the style, isn't it? Because I guess that candle's always going to be held to his feet a little bit because people are always going to say, well, we need some sort of end product and we've loaned out an end product and we now don't have that. And you brought in a guy of which emulates very similar characteristics. If I was looking at Okafor and I was thinking, there is a completely different player there. You know, somebody who offers something completely different is a level up, like Pai Zhao. If you bring Pai Zhao in, you go,
You go,
well,
all
okay,
right.
yeah,
But,
and I'd be like, yeah, loan him out. But when you kind of look at this, I don't want to make this the Ramazani show. I don't want it to be that, but
no, but you're right because
it's creative, isn't it? We're talking about the creativity in the final third.
and we're bringing on Jack Harrison.
Well, I mean, I didn't even think that was ever going to happen, but I can't believe we're at that stage. But yeah,
So I remember saying to you that he won't go in. Nobody, who's going to take him? We're not going to give him around a free.
that's the same with Aronson, isn't it, as well? It's players that you just can't get rid of.
Aronson's, because we paid so much money for him, it'd be
Yeah.
a huge loss, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
They need to be clever with him. They need to give him a new contract, which sounds completely mental, but they need to just to stretch out for PSR. It's a nonsense in it, the PSR thing, but
It's terrible. Yeah, it
I
is,
don't know
mate.
how we're constantly working at a loss though. How every summer do we hear we've spent all we can?
I think the confusing bit as well was last summer when you got rid of Kamara, Somerville, Archie, and Rutter, and they must have made an absolute mint. And I know we're in the championship again, so you lose a hell of a lot of money. I get that. But yeah, I didn't think the operating costs would be to a level of which you're in the red so much.
If you think of what we've sold in recent years though, the
Was
year before we sold Rafinha and Phillips.
that the year before?
Well, it's been in recent years, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Rafinha, how long's he been gone? 2, 3 years?
it's done
3
all right.
years.
It's done all right, hasn't it?
Yeah. So there's 100 million between them two. There's 150 between the four you've just mentioned.
Mm.
I don't know why we can never spend.
Do you think a lot of it's been installments and payments of which the previous ownership have just absolutely killed us with? Do you know what I mean? I mean, a little birdie told me it was only up until last year that we're still paying off Dan James. So it's these stupid contracts of which you're looking at and thinking, my God.
Yeah, I'm not too. I don't confess to be clued up on alt finances and stuff.
We have to be now, mate, don't we? We have to all be finance experts when we're talking about football. I've figured that out.
It just feels like why is it every summer it just seems like we can't spend out.
I know what you mean. It's frustrating, isn't it? It's frustrating, mate. It is. But I'll tell you what, buddy, we'll leave it there. God, I can't believe it's been an hour. But thank you so much, everybody. Slap a like on the video. Mr. Brown will be back. Keep notified on your oh, what, I sound like my dad. Keep notified on your subscriptions. What you on about, mate? Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. So basically you get alerted anytime we post, upload, put shorts on, whatever. And I'll give you a little bit of an update of what we're thinking. But I think if I was to be a betting man, I'd say we're probably going to go Wednesday midday going forward. I think so. Keep an eye out
One
for
last
that.
question, Connor.
Go on.
Wolves win, lose or draw?
I think we beat Wolves 1-0.
Oh, and then everything's good again.
And it's fine.
Everything's rosy. We're back in the top 10. We're sat on 7 points.
Yeah.
We're all laughing and dancing.
And then we can
Fark's
lose.
the next Messiah. We don't need Ramazani. Matteo who? Like,
are you talking to me here?
just trying to cheer myself up, mate, because
yeah.
I've been to 5 games and saw a goal. Didn't even see a penalty get scored, mate. Didn't even see a penalty get scored.
Great pen as well. Great pen. No, what do you reckon? Wolves? Do you reckon we'll pick anything up?
Yeah, I think it'll be a draw. 0-0.
Do you know, I can't wait. I wonder what the odds are. What do you reckon the odds are for Burnley versus Leeds? Being 0-0.
My brother said this. He went, that'd send a glass eye to sleep. It was going to be putrid, innit? It was putrid in the Championship when both teams were going for winning the league. Like,
But I wonder if he brings Gruev in as well. That's when we know it's. That's like last time. It's like when we know it's going to be. We're not even going to get beyond the halfway line. It's
It was. I tell you what, we have got locked down though.
Go on.
That last slot on match of the day.
Oh,
we are there week in, week out.
Just people are going to bed thinking, I can't stay up till midnight to watch Leeds draw 0-0. But guys, let us know what you think in the comment section below, and we'll be back at some point next week.